Push Effect and Full Effect. I got my man Corey in the building. The Daily Special Charlotte. How you doing, brother?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. How you doing today, man? This is feeling good. I haven't been on the mic in like a month now, so I'm just like getting warmed up, you know?
I feel you. Yeah, this is one of the few podcasts I've done, and it's always fun. So
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, appreciate the invite out. So,
No, thank you for coming, bro. I seen you on another podcast before. What was the other podcast?
So I've done one local Charlotte food podcast called Scallion Pancake, and I've also done Who's Got Next podcast.
Okay. Yeah, because I seen you on the mic a couple times, so I was just wondering like what podcast you had been on. But I want to start off the interview by shouting out our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by our guys at East Charlotte Nissan. Whether you got bad credit, no credit, it doesn't matter. Just hit up my guy Hassan, and he'll hook you up. Basically, you just call him directly at 551-251-0245, or just text Push Fed Podcast at any time, and he'll hook you up, guys. So just make sure y'all hit up my sponsors, you know. But my boy Corey's in here, man. Has probably one of the most intriguing Instagrams for food in Charlotte that I've seen. So I just wanted to get to know, like, how did you get started in food? Like, he's in tech, by the way, so that's what it's just. I just want to know how that corresponded, you know.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people ask, how do I get from the tech world, which I'm still involved heavily into the food scene in Charlotte. And it kind of started back when I first moved here. I was going places and I would see they would have food and drink specials all around. So I would go to a place and then saw if I had came on a Thursday, my wine would have been half off. So I'm like, man, there has to be a way for me to figure out where these specials are so I know when to go where I'm going.
Right.
So I searched around and couldn't find anything that consolidated all the food and drink specials in Charlotte. So I decided just to create it. Since I'm in tech and have a tech background and deal with websites on the daily, I built a website dedicated to food and drink specials in Charlotte. That's how I got the name Daily Specials CLT. So on the site, I was like, I want to make this, easy to use and consolidate all of the food and drink specials in one space so people could go and plan out their week, when you're planning on going out. So you can save a little bit of money and still eat good.
Right.
So I did that and set up the website, which ended up taking way longer than I anticipated. But once I was in it, I had to finish it. So pushed through and set up the site, dailyspecialsclt.com, which lets people go to. You can search for a specific day of the week, a certain wine special or certain daily special, whether you want wine or wings or Taco Tuesday or whatever. You can even pick the area of Charlotte if you want to look at where you live or a specific area that you're going to be in, whether you're in South End or Uptown or, South Charlotte or South Park or Noda or wherever. You can just kind of filter through the specials and find specials that will apply to you in one location and one website.
Okay. And so you're not even from here, from Charlotte?
Correct. Yeah. I've been here about 4 years now. So originally I'm from a small town near Athens, Georgia called Elberton, Georgia. So kind of grew up there. We didn't really eat out much, so food was always a big part of my upbringing. So food and cooking and big feasts made by grandma. So it was primarily soul food, which, a lot of us experienced growing up. So the cool thing now is I get to explore, other avenues outside of soul food, which I've been, loving lately. But yeah, that was the benefit of moving to a bigger city out of small country town, is the food, and I've been able to explore and post and kind of grow.
Okay, so I had a question this question was like deeper on in our conversation, but since you had brought it up, I just wanted to know, like, basically, do you think which avenue do you think brings people more together, music or food?
Ooh, that's a good question. Personally, I think food. I've been all across the world, and no matter what, for instance, I was in France, went to this restaurant, old French grandma, and serving out of what looks like a house almost. She didn't speak a lick of English. We didn't speak French. But through the food, we had the best time. We were all in there laughing. She was pouring up wine, and neither one of us could speak each other's language, but through the food, we enjoyed each other for hours, just sitting there chilling, interacting, you know. So stuff like that, I don't think there's anything that brings people together more than food.
Right. And I think food, I mean, just like music is music as well. You get all different types of cultures and stuff put into your own different way. And then you get to try this person's culture. You get to try that person just to get a little, no pun intended, you get a little taste of, you know, how everyone's like been growing up and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool though.
Right. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. It's definitely cool to see. And now, you know, since we're in like the information age, we are able to be exposed to a lot more cuisines. And if you want to find out about anything, you could just Google it and find a local Italian restaurant or a local Spanish or French or African or whatever you want. You can probably find somebody cooking it, so you can go try it.
Right.
Whereas before, I know for me growing up, I didn't necessarily have access to those things. It was mostly just soul food, one type of thing, which I got really good and used to eating. But there's a whole different world out there and whole different culture, and you really do get to experience people's culture through their food. And it's always interesting hearing why they serve what they do, based on the environment or, you know, I guess the class of the people that live in that country or whatever. And it's always interesting because usually there is always a story behind why a culture eats what they do. So,
what's the most interesting story you've heard?
So I would suggest everybody watch High on the Hog. I won't give it away, but there are some scenes in there that will make you almost cry. Just going through a lot of the African and how us coming over from Africa and being transported to like the rice fields down in Charleston and Gullah Geechee culture, and it gets pretty deep and it's a very interesting watch. So check out.
Where's it at?
It's on Netflix.
Netflix? Okay, I'm gonna check that out.
How
Do you think Charlotte has a culture in food?
So I talk about that a lot. I don't think Charlotte necessarily has a food identity yet as a whole.
I think we can just have a restaurant identity.
Right. Yeah. So we are becoming more and more of a food city, which is great now. And I think that's in part due to Johnson & Wales being here, a culinary school. So as we get more and more of those chefs out into the market, they're able to open up their own spaces and elevate the food scene here. And we got, as we become more of a food city, other chefs from other cities, it's now more lucrative for them to come to Charlotte and start their spot over trying to start a spot in Chicago or New York where it's already very competitive. So I think we're hopefully getting there, and maybe something would kind of take place, but I don't know that Charlotte has like a specific food dish that people would say, oh, I'm in Charlotte, I got to try this before I leave. So that's what I'm hoping kind of we get something, you know, and examples would be like Philly cheesesteak or New York pizza or deep dish pizza or barbecue in Texas, that type of thing. So I don't know that we have that Charlotte dish yet, but it would be cool to see what kind of comes out in the future.
When did you see your social media platforms start to rise?
So my platforms, so kind of going back a bit, I started my social media Instagram account originally just to pair with the website. So it was only supposed to be me posting about specials on my Instagram, just, hey, go here for 50-cent wings on Wednesday or whatever. But as I got into the food scene, I saw that there was not much of a Black influence. Nobody looked like me. And a lot of the same places were getting posted over and over and over again. And quite frankly, a lot of those places that were getting posted by a lot of the local Charlotte food influencers and such wasn't that great. They were just popular. And I'm like, this spot has better food but doesn't get any coverage because they're not in a prime location, for instance. So because of that, I said, okay, I'm going to kind of change and kind of do a heavy focus on a lot of the Black and minority-owned small mom-and-pop shops that have excellent food, but that nobody knows about because media doesn't go outside of South End and Uptown and South Park, where they're comfortable. So, but I, for instance, will go eat in the hood or go eat in the finest restaurant. Like I'll eat wherever there's good food. So I was like, a lot of our good places, especially the small mom and pop minority owned spots, aren't getting posted and aren't getting any media shine, so people don't know about them, so they can't support.
That makes a whole bunch of sense.
Right, yeah. So I had a heavy focus on that, and people started picking up on that sense. And then after that, people started sharing my page because of that. Then I started doing even more heavy focus on Black-owned spots, and I came up with a Black-owned list of restaurants. So that list got shared out a bunch when the whole George Floyd thing, and it was very popular and trendy to support Black restaurants.
Is that still up on your website?
It's still up on my website.
That's pretty dope.
There's a Charlotte Black-owned restaurant list. So that got shared out a ton.
Thanks.
And that pushed me over 10K at that point. So yeah, that's kind of when my page became more popular, I guess I would say.
That's pretty cool. I just keep looking at that hat, bro. It's just throwing me off. We have an Atlanta Falcons fan in the building, guys.
Rise up.
Oh my gosh, even though they're not that good this year.
Hey, we're gonna always we're not bandwagon over here,
right? Nah, I mean that's the one thing I can say about Atlanta Falcons fans. I can just say that there's no real bandwagon fans, but the only real bandwagon fans, Dallas Cowboy fans.
Yeah.
But it's just like, where'd you guys come from?
Right,
anybody that likes Tom Brady, like
nobody was checking for the Patriots before they started winning. So
like New England, like come on, like nobody was checking for them,
Right.
And so, going back to where you had a list of Black-owned places that wasn't getting enough coverage, not just Black-owned, just like food places that was good, that just wasn't getting the best coverage. You bringing that to the forefront, showing basically North Carolina that there's other foods places, but the ones that are like popular but really not that good. I've had spots like that too, and it's just like, okay, why are these people so popular?
Right,
they're not even that good. But I've had some places like in the Cut. I forgot these people's name. It's right by Uptown, and it's like something water. It's just like a Louisiana freshwaters,
yeah.
And they're in the Cut.
Yeah,
nice vibe, nice food, and what they stand for is like they don't fry they don't use grease. I forgot what type of grease they don't use or use. They just have like a certain instruction that they go by. Stuff like that doesn't get
to be a little bit more like health conscious.
Yeah, be a little bit more health conscious, and stuff like that doesn't get noticed. So that's why I'm thankful for you that you have your platform, and you're actually probably one of the first people I followed when I was looking for food spots.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's definitely been a blessing in the fact that I can help grow other businesses now. I love, and I think a lot of it goes down to also just relatability. When I first moved to Charlotte, I was looking for food and drink bloggers and people that I could follow to get good recommendations, but I didn't see any that looked like me. So obviously I can follow them, but I'm not going to relate to them as much.
Got it.
A lot of people now laugh at my videos and stuff because part of it is also entertainment when I'm making, especially TikTok and Reels. So, and I can connect with our demographic unlike anybody else.
Right, exactly.
So obviously they're going to connect with me more, trust and go where I recommend more than just, somebody that they just randomly see on Instagram.
Exactly.
So,
you put me onto these birria tacos that I had today. I had these birria tacos, and they're oxtail birria tacos, and probably one of the best tacos I ever had in my life.
In his life.
Yeah, I was like, yo, they didn't even make it 5 minutes in my plate. So, oh my God. So I can take your recommendation at any time.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And, stuff like that is super cool because I met them a while ago, the two places that did the collab, Meals by Mariah and Craven Caribbean. And we just built that relationship. So then now they want me to try out something. They'll call, say, hey, come try this out. Just let us know what you think. And that way I can let them know. Then I may sometimes do a post about it if I love it, and then they've still been. That was a couple weeks ago, and they still are getting calls about that
Thanks.
every day. People wanting that taco,
Oh,
and
man.
people that have tried it saying, "Hey, y'all got to bring this back."
Yeah.
Like, and because of that, because I can do a post and bring places more and more business. For me, it's not about making a lot of money from that or anything. It's more so about growing the actual community. So that way they get more business, they can hire help, and then teach somebody else the game, and then that person can hire somebody else, and provide for their family.
That makes sense.
So we're building up the whole community here,
Right.
and helping save some of our small restaurants that people wouldn't otherwise know about or know to even support.
Right,
So,
exactly. So it's about saving the small restaurants too as well. So, and that's what I wanted to talk about too. So during this COVID, this pandemic, I see restaurants trying to be creative in how they approach, serving now, or just the overall dynamic of the food space. What do you see as the future for restaurants?
So the big thing that I've noticed now is everywhere is including outside seating and a patio, which I love, especially for like spring and fall time, like right around now. Weather is perfect to just go, chill on the patio and eat. And a lot of places are incorporating that, in their business plans, and places that didn't have outdoor seating now have it. Just in case. And people have been kind of getting adjusted to just eating outside and doing things outside more out of safety reasons. So I think that's probably the biggest change that I've seen. And a lot of places also kind of switched up their menus because for several reasons. The first is there's a shortage of everything, as most people know. So wings have skyrocketed. Lulu's right up the street can't keep crab in, and that's what their staple is. Yeah. So it's just been hard for a lot of restaurants to even serve what they traditionally did. And if they do, they've had to raise the prices up quite a bit. So a lot of them have been adjusting, trying to find things that are more accessible, depending on the area and what demographic they typically serve.
Exactly.
You don't want to price your demographic out,
Right.
trying to raise prices. So a lot of them have had to adjust, and also a lot of them have also adjusted to doing a lot more takeout instead of dine-in focused.
Yeah.
And certain dishes don't translate well takeout, so they've had to add dishes and take some off and kind of adjust their menus that way.
That makes sense. Oh, okay, so that makes a lot of sense, because you don't want crab cakes don't taste that well in styrofoam boxes.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to have to order a $50 steak. It's sitting in a to-go box for 30 minutes while a driver brings it. Then you got to heat it up again when you get home.
Exactly.
And now it's overcooked, and you just paid all that money. And on top of all those delivery fees, it seems like if you order a sandwich on DoorDash, you're gonna end up paying
$20.
Yeah.
A $7 meal is now $20.
It's crazy. So most of the time when I see that, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just go get it.
Right. I just get my sandwich. So what? So speaking of nice dining and stuff like that, what are your views on date restaurants? Like what are your top 3 date restaurants?
Ooh, so lately I have been loving Mizu in South Park.
Mizu.
Yeah. If you follow my Instagram, you see me posting a bunch on my stories because I go there all the time. I also live in the area, so it's very convenient for me. So it's a kind of a Asian seafood robata style restaurant, and they have a really dope rooftop patio, so you get nice vibe and views. That one's really nice.
I think I've seen that one. Is that the one with the white countertops and stuff like that? Maybe I'm tripping.
No, this one, if you've seen videos of it, you'll probably see the patio. They have string lights going, and the patio looks like a nice vibe. What you're talking about is probably Aura Rooftop.
The rooftop. Yeah, that's
Aura
what I'm thinking
Rooftop
about.
Uptown, which is really dope as well. That's a great drink and vibe spot. The views there are
that's
great.
what it was.
Yeah,
exactly.
Aura Rooftop is dope for drinks. So that's another good one. And then Steak 48, if you don't mind blowing the bag.
Yeah.
Then, because for 2 people, you're gonna
spend something.
Yeah, you're gonna spend some money. But the service and the food is very solid.
Right.
So
What are you looking at for steak 48? Like $200 a person? Not a person, but for a whole meal.
You may be able to get out. Yeah, I would plan at least for $200.
Yeah.
On the lower end, you can easily, if you're going to be drinking too, you can easily surpass that. So,
Woo.
yeah,
That's some money.
Yeah, it is, but their service is very top
tier.
tier.
Is A1? Okay.
Yeah. That's one of the few places I've been where they asked me what color of linen cloth do I want for my napkin.
Right.
So, and I didn't even know the reason. Apparently, the reason is if you're wearing dark clothing, you don't want white linen because then you'll get white linen and white lint on your dark clothing.
Oh, that makes sense.
So it's that level of detail.
High end. Okay.
Yeah.
It's and so do you ever do like food reviews as well? Like, do people have you come in for like? I know like people come in for like food critics and stuff like that, but people have you come in and just like get free food and you just eat and be like, yeah, this could do this. This can be better, stuff like that. Do you have people doing that for you?
Yeah, so several things happen. Sometimes it's an actual media event. So say a restaurant is opening a new location here in Charlotte. They may throw a media event and invite a bunch of, or all of Charlotte media and a lot of the local foodies and food influencers and bloggers and stuff to come in, try a meal for free just to get that exposure. Mm-hmm. And then typically people want content. So they're going to record, take pictures, and then do a post. And that way, when they launch, they get a bunch of business.
Right.
So it's basically to get the name out there,
warmed up and stuff like that. Right. How often do you record and drop content?
So when I was starting out and actually like trying to grow the page, I was putting out usually 2 to 3 posts a week. Usually I would do 3 posts a week. Now, since I'm doing mostly TikTok and Reels, I do once per week. Mm-hmm. Sometimes 2, just depending on what's going on. But yeah, I have a whole backlog of just content in my phone that I can drop.
They can drop anytime.
Yeah, but usually I only do once per week. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much my average. And then I guess I also get invited in sometimes specifically as Daily Special CLT or Black Guys Cook to come in and try a restaurant. And usually I will bring 1 or 2 people with me just because I don't want to go by myself, right. Of course. So that's more kind of like a personalized dinner invite. So that happens sometimes too. And then a lot of times me and some of the other foodies will just go to a place, and which is always fun because when I'm going out with the other foodies, they already know we're about to take a bunch of pictures and stuff, so nobody is in a rush to eat. So because honestly, all of us are used to eating warm or cold food. Okay. So doing it for the content. But if you're an average person, you don't care about no pictures. You're just trying to eat.
You're right.
So a lot of times it'll be 4 or 5 of the foodies. We'll go out, order pretty much the whole menu, try everything, and then just split the cost. So that way we get to try a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. We can get good pictures and content, and we have a good time doing that. So
thanks. You go to Taste of Charlotte this year?
I did not make Taste of Charlotte this year.
Dang. Yeah. I thought you was gonna be out there.
Did you go?
No, I didn't go out there. I missed that. I missed that rush when I was coming right back from it. I was coming the other way, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm glad I'm not in that."
Yeah,
there was a lot of traffic that day.
That day, I actually went down to Peachland, North Carolina, which is the middle of nowhere. But John G's barbecue is down there. The best barbecue you'll get anywhere in this area by far. Bro. Yeah, by far.
What did they say? Okay, what are they serving there?
So it's a Texas style. So brisket. North Carolina barbecue is usually pig focused.
Pig, yes.
But since they're Texas style, they do the best brisket in the area. Mm-hmm. That brisket just melts in your mouth. I don't know how they do it, but it makes people from Charlotte drive a whole hour down there. And just to get it. And you got to be in line. You want to be in line by 10 o'clock. They don't open until 11. So I usually try to get down there about 9:30. So that Saturday I got down there about 9:30 and set up chairs and just chill out. It's almost like a tailgate almost out there. They got people serving beer, free beer, water. People are just hanging out there in the morning until they open.
So is it a restaurant or is it?
It's a barbecue restaurant. Okay. So small barbecue restaurant in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing else out there in Peachland. Kind of near. This is one of the universities. Wingate, I think, is down there.
Oh, South Carolina.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah.
Yeah, Wingate University is South Carolina. That border line.
So somewhere down in that that area. But yeah, that's where I was Saturday. It's about an hour away, but it's worth it.
I'm not a big fan of brisket. I had a bad experience with brisket, and I tasted it was just mad dry.
Right.
Like somebody didn't cook it well for me.
Exactly. I wasn't a fan of brisket either until I tried theirs. Yeah.
Okay, so I might have to drive an hour to go to Peachland.
You won't be disappointed.
Okay, so make sure I be there early.
Oh yeah. If you can, you want to leave Charlotte by about 8:30. Get down there about 9:30. Take a chair, take some water.
Oh, it's like that. It's a wait like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, even I got down there at about 9:45ish, and there was about 20 people in front of me already. So
that's crazy.
But yeah, they're only open on Saturdays, so that's why.
Oh, they can only open on Saturday. They must be doing good business.
Yeah.
If they can only open a restaurant on Saturdays, then be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
They only open on Saturdays, and they're good.
I like niches like that. I like niches that like restaurants that just and it also sucks too because they're not open more times. Right. They're just like I just gotta wait till Saturday or I can't make it or something like that. But that's like a niche that I like. Restaurant. Well, that's one of those things that. Well, I guess you got to kind of make a name for yourself though, as well to do certain stuff like that. You can't just be a regular restaurant and just be open one day out the week.
Yeah, they started with a food truck in Charlotte, and they had it, and they still have the truck now. They'll bring it to Charlotte, about once or twice a month still. But they get a lot of traffic down there from Charlotte because of that. Because honestly, Charlotte doesn't have great barbecue here, really. So not in comparison to the other parts of North Carolina, where North Carolina is typically considered a barbecue state because both North Carolina and South Carolina have their own styles of barbecue. But for some reason, Charlotte kind of got missed the memo, I guess.
How do you distinguish different styles of like barbecue?
Yeah, so here the Carolinas have a vinegar-based and a mustard-based barbecue sauce, and it's mostly pig. Back in Georgia, our style was more of a ketchup-based as far as the sauce goes. Then you have Texas, which is mostly, they're known more for beef and brisket.
Exactly.
Then you got Memphis-style barbecue and Kansas City-style barbecue. Those are probably the big barbecue cities. But yeah, it will be Texas, Kansas City, Memphis, and the Carolinas are kind of known as barbecue areas. It's just, for some reason, that didn't take in Charlotte.
So what kind of, we talking about all this like carnivore stuff. What about the vegans? What are the vegan options? Like, do you have any content for the vegans?
Yeah. So that's actually the vegan spots have kind of had a boom here last year in Charlotte. So you got, probably my favorite is Best of Both Souls over in City Kitch. And she's serving up some really good vegan items. I'm not even vegan, and I'll just go eat there sometimes.
Wow.
One of the other most popular ones, but she doesn't have a restaurant, is Chef Joya. But you can look her up on Instagram. She does a lot of pop-ups around Charlotte, and her mac and cheese is crazy. I don't know. That was the first time I've had vegan cheese and thought it was actually solid. And she did like a whole soul food dinner at one of the pop-ups, and like she throws down on vegan food. She's been vegan all her life.
Wow.
And then you got more of the burger spots popping up, like Romeo's.
Have you had Mike's?
I've had Mike's too.
Mike's is really good.
Mike's is solid.
Yeah.
Yep. So we got a lot of vegan items. Oh, and I can't forget the OG Beltree. They do
Beltree. Yeah. I have not been to Beltree yet.
Yeah, Beltree. They've been around for a while. Nick Cannon and Erykah Badu love.
Yeah,
Beltree.
They go there a lot.
Yeah, so that's another popular spot. And they do vegan soul food. So
okay. So how do you feel about like food and the health side of it as well? Like, do you ever have any content like that speaking about health and stuff like that? Since it's for our community and stuff.
Right. Yeah, that is important. And what I'm seeing now is a lot of places, especially that serve our demographic, are now trying to be more health conscious,
right,
because
exactly.
A lot of the things we eat was very high in sodium, high in fat, like not healthy at all. Which, I mean, it tastes great, but it's not something that we should eat every day.
Exactly.
So a lot of the places, one of them like Leah and Louise is a black-owned spot in Camp North End. He's from Memphis, but he's an incredible chef. And they do try to do things more health conscious. So it'll be kind of a dish that you recognize, but with a unique twist. And a lot of times it'll be a healthier version of it and still just as good. So I am seeing that, which is great for our community, with all the high blood pressure and all type of things, just based on how we grew up eating. And that's kind of a whole different discussion on why we ended up eating those things, based on, economics, honestly, and money. So, but now that, we kind of have the opportunity to expand and we have more knowledge of what we should and shouldn't be eating. We can kind of control that more, hopefully, going forward in the future. So I'm seeing a lot of the chefs and restaurants taking that into consideration a lot more now.
And then you'll eat one meal and it's got like 2,000 milligrams of sodium in it. Like, you're just something you should just not be consuming.
Right. We were eating ramen noodles and stuff.
Exactly.
Like nothing. 2-3 packs
a night. A night, yeah. So and that really comes into play when we talk about getting older and stuff like that. And just watching, you just want to just change, like you're doing right now. You're just changing the dynamic. You kind of want to change the dynamic as you get older, just knowing more, because our parents didn't know as much. Right. They didn't know about counting calories or eating 2,000 milligrams of sodium a day, and just eating whatever just to feel good or like what they're eating type thing.
Yeah. It was basically you eat to survive. Not eat to live longer at that point, because for a lot of us it was just find whatever was the cheapest meal that could feed the most people for the longest, and let that be. But yeah, now we can definitely be more health conscious, which is awesome.
You ever thought about owning a restaurant?
After working with a lot of the restaurants, probably not. You have to really love that field to continue to do it. Just because there's a lot that goes into it, from, you got to manage people, manage customers, manage the food and getting your food and sourcing and making sure you're not going to kill people. Like there's a lot that goes into managing a restaurant. If I ever did it, it would probably be just as owner and having somebody else manage. But because that honestly, there's a stigma around a lot of Black and minority owned restaurants that service is terrible. And a lot of that does come from, we'll be very good at cooking, but don't have any people skills, or don't want to do any of the business side of it. Yeah. So that kind of hurts our restaurants a lot of times. Yeah. And not realizing that you can just hire somebody to take that part away from you. You could just focus on the cooking if you're willing to do that. But with all that, it's a lot to manage for a person. So you have to really love and be willing to not make a lot of money in the long run. Yeah. But if you just love serving people, then those are the chefs that I see.
Okay. Do you have any future plans on traveling anywhere other than North Carolina to get some food?
Oh, yeah. I definitely would travel for food. That's usually when I'm traveling somewhere, it is for food. So, New Orleans is probably my favorite food city. Chicago is right there, too. I want to go back to Chicago. As far as places that I haven't been yet, I want to go to Texas and have barbecue there. That'll be happening. I've actually never been to DC, so I want to go there and eat my way through DC. Right. Exactly. And then out of the country, I was planning on doing Spain and Italy back in 2020.
Get some real authentic Italian food, huh? Yeah. And Spanish food, right?
Yeah, right. And kind of expanding my knowledge there. And when I'm traveling, usually I'll go eat where the locals are eating, not the touristy spots. I'm trying to find the actual, like, if I was an Italian, where would I go? Right. So that's kind of kind of the places that I'm looking forward to when the world opens back up. And Japan, of course. Japan has such a vast variety of food there. And the thing about the Japanese is they always want to perfect whatever it is that they're doing. So you can get some of the best cuisines, even if it's not Japanese. You can get amazing food, amazing French or whatever over there.
That people put their heart into. Okay, makes sense. Well, Corey, I appreciate you for coming on the podcast, brother.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much, bro. Let them know where they can find you at.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Daily Special CLT. You can also find me on TikTok and YouTube at Black Guys Cook. And yeah, those will probably be the best two spots. You'll see me posting videos probably once a week on Instagram and TikTok. So if you like to eat, definitely check it out.
All right. Thank you so much, man. This is a Push Fed podcast, and we're out.